Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that are made. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News, deep dives, and creation. AITV Starship. Learn, laugh, innovation. AITV Star, human amplified. Catch the spark, ride the wave. Future's on our side. We got experts talking truth in the stream. Dreaming bigger, living stronger, building a dream. From therapy bots to AGI talk. We ask the hard questions while we walk the walk. Yeah, I'm the voice of the folks at home. If Rick's too deep, I bring it down to the bone. AITV Starship. News, deep dives, and creation. AITV Starship. Learn, laugh, innovation. AITV Star, human
It's Thanksgiving. We got family.
Yeah, it's AITV Starship with Rick McCauley, the AI guy, Brandon, the producer, and guest starring Noah.
He's our, I think he's our official mascot for AITV Starship.
Well, as long as he's not a turkey, I won't have to eat him.
Yeah, that's right. So we are not live. This is pre-recorded, nearly live. It is Wednesday for us here.
I'm mostly. I was up late last night, but I'm mostly alive right now. But yeah, we decided, Brandon and his family and everybody wants to have a nice Thanksgiving. And after you're sitting on the couch right now at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can enjoy us pre-recorded from the night before. And I could be on a couch in Argentina. And Brandon, I'm guessing you got anything special planned for Thanksgiving?
Just eating lots of turkey, hanging out with family. I don't have to cook, so I'm happy.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Are you doing one of those DoorDash deals, or what kind of Thanksgiving are you doing?
No, we're doing in-laws dash.
Excellent. So. I remember those days for sure. Yeah. I'll be having steak in Argentina, so that'll be nice.
That sounds good.
Yeah, of course, we've got a lot to be grateful for. This show has been so much fun, and I think I hope everybody's starting to enjoy it and get the kind of gist. There's so much going on. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, we've got a few stories to talk about tonight, as we normally do. It's every single day, and we got the whole family on there. You guys can come back and say hi. Why don't you do? It's Thanksgiving, Brandon. Let's show off the family here if they want. They want to come back and do a.
They're getting corralled upstairs.
Okay, all right. So yeah, everybody, we got a lot to be thankful for, and I think you guys know us by now. We're AI positive, and we want to see if we could do some great things. I was thinking about making a couple of Thanksgiving songs. I think that'd be kind of fun to do, and even thinking about what I'm really thankful for. And I was going to do a deep dive on the meaning of Thanksgiving and what is the mythology of Thanksgiving and how close to how we celebrate it was the original Thanksgiving. I mean, we know the Easter Bunny doesn't really exist, and that's all part of mythology.
Well, that sounds like something NotebookLM would be really good at.
Oh, funny you should mention.
That's going to be our tool time tonight.
Tool time tonight, and our deep dive is going to be about Google because they are dominating the world of artificial intelligence with their new version that came out, Nana Banana Pro, they're calling it. I like that. I'm okay with that, as long as they keep the Nana Banana. To me, that's something. They were talking about ketchup, did you say? Was that one of the names they were going to do?
Yeah, that was something I saw. Thankfully, they didn't go for that.
Yeah, so I'm going to go real deep in NotebookLM because they got Nana Banana in there, and it makes infographics that you truly will not believe. I mean, we've gone from hands that had 20,000 fingers. We've had, eyeballs that were all smushed and blurry, and Now we've got clones of me in 10 seconds telling jokes on stage in New York City. And then we've got me doing infographics. Yeah, hold on to your beer,
Although if you're in Sora, you can no longer call it Cameo because Cameo sued Sora and OpenAI and said, "Hey, you're doing cameos? That's our thing. That's literally the name of our company.
Oh,
so you got to call it
no.
something else." So,
Well, what are they going to call it now? You got any ideas for them?
not ketchup.
Not ketchup. Well, if they want to catch up with the other guys, and that's kind of the story tonight, is I do believe, and I'm going to make the case in point, that Google will dominate all AI for the rest of the century. They're going to be the leaders for a bunch of reasons, mainly because they own all the verticals. They own YouTube. That's what everything's trained on, right? They also own all search. Oh boy, that's just basically every bit of knowledge there is on the internet. And they know where it is, including some of the buried bodies. We'll find out about a couple of those too. And then they make
But they're
their
not
own
alone.
processors.
Everybody else is trying to play catch up with them, and everyone else is jockeying for pole position, and everybody's copying everybody else. So Google, when I went to Google I/O back in May, they were in their labs feature had their experimental arm had a virtual try-on where you could take a picture of yourself and a picture of some clothes and virtually try on stuff. Well, just a few hours ago, Perplexity, lo and behold, has virtual try-on now where you can take out of the atmosphere.
Oh, this is too much fun.
There we go.
So,
you can generate an avatar in Perplexity.
Wow.
Comment browser.
Oh, and it's a whole world thing. Curiosity looks good on you. Wow. Well, I'm a super fan of Perplexity. It's definitely one of those tools. It's an aggregator. It's using Gemini. It's using ChatGPT. It's using the 5.1 ChatGPT. It's using the 3.0. And now it's got Nana Banana in there. It never has been really great at incorporating the image making tools in it, but it looks like everybody else is. And it's just an API away, right? I think that's going to be the dominant thing going on. You have the large language models, the big three right now, or four, I guess. Let's see, who do we got? We got Grok, and they just came out with 4.1, which is sick video. I mean, it's better than Sora in some ways and a little bit less than others. It does have audio in it, and you can get kind of naughty with it. So that's Grok. Then you've got a ChatGPT 5.1, and you've got an upgrade going on there too, right? What's the newest with ChatGPT?
So
ChatGPT
announced some new 5.1. They announced voice inline, so you can have a conversation inline with see what they're talking about. We've started to see rolling out multiple picture generations where you can stack your picture generation instead of waiting for one to generate before you start the next one. And the one that I'm tickled pink about is group chats. So you can actually have a chat with somebody else and ChatGPT at the same time, which Meta has had on Instagram for about a year and nobody's noticed. But ChatGPT now has it.
What's with Meta? You got Midjourney into Meta that you can use for free, and I've been using it. It's got all the features pretty much that Meta has. Oh, by the way, guess what? Midjourney has new features, new styling tools that are really kind of cool. You might have seen Adobe's Firefly, where you could generate 16 images that are based on a style, and then you can iterate, and then you pull the best ones out of the sets of 16 that generate instantly. Then you put them in a drawer, and then you say, now I've got my consistent character, I've got my consistent world, and now they're going to be making world models and putting it all together. So that's, I think they were getting ready to release version 8. Now they have an influx of money from Meta because Meta has their tool built in. And I think they're kind of merging a little bit too. So they seem to be synergistic. A little bit of an outlier thing. Mark Zuckerberg is one of those guys that just can't get a date. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry to put it that way, but he just seems like an outsider. He always seemed like a bit of an alien to me, you know. I remember he
Yep.
had a conversation wearing his goggles where it was a virtual him, and it looked more like a human than he does. And he's always wanted to make these world models, and then he goes and he pays for the most expensive people in the world, and then he laid them off. I mean, I'm not quite sure if he was just kind of cherry picking, or, I think he has the highest paid employee in the world or something. Like, he gets more money than LeBron James does. I forget the kid's name, but he's like 23 years old. So Meta's kind of crazy. Midjourney's kind of nuts. And then let's go on over to, well, I'm going to save Google for a little bit later, because we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to Google for sure, right?
Yeah.
So
So
what about Claude?
go ahead. Yeah. So Claude it just got 4.5 Opus. You have to pay to play for Opus, but Claude has gotten really good at coding, such that while you were talking about Meta, I just asked it to make a clone of Frogger on a 1980 CRT display. And so if we
while you're sitting there talking on a TV show. Oh,
so
my
it doesn't
goodness.
work because as I press the up arrows, it's speeding up the cars. But that's where we're
Maybe
at.
it should.
And those are that would be the impossible level. But all of these models now are getting really good at coding, even in the ones that you don't have to, even if the ones you don't have to pay for. And if you want 4.5 Opus without paying for 4.5 Opus, you can go over to Lovable and use it inside of Lovable and get 5 prompts a day for free.
Yeah, this is kind of an inside thing. So we're going to give you a couple of tips tonight. One of them being this really weird one. So I'm paying for, let's see, what do I got? I was originally paying $20 a month for Gemini. You get ChatGPT. I mean, sorry, you get excuse me, Nana Banana. You get the AI Studio. You get all that stuff, right? And you get a bunch of generations, and you got context windows like 10 million tokens or something crazy like that. NotebookLM, which we're going to talk about extensively later, which is worth billions of dollars. In fact, I'm getting ready because I've run out of credits. Like, literally, you get 1,000 credits a day or something. And I went through them all in like the last 3 days. And I'm waiting for it to refresh so I can really demo stuff tonight, hopefully by the time we get there. But anyway, what I found out was weird is here's what you do. So if you've never paid for Gemini, I swear this is the best deal on the planet. You pay for AI, what do they call it? AI access to Gemini, right? And the difference is the one plan that Google has, don't get that.
Yep.
You're paying for hard drive space. You want to pay for the AI generation capability. So here's what you do for $10 and you get everything. In fact, my $60 that I'm paying right now a month, you get more than I get, right? Are the same as, right? So get the plan that's AI, starts with AI Gemini access, right? So you get all the stuff that I just talked about, 2 terabytes of space, which as much as I produce, I still haven't filled up my 10 terabytes yet. Not even close. I think I'm at 20%, 28%, something like that. Okay, but here's what's cool is if you run out of generational credits, you can pay $25 and you get another 1,000 credits on top and just do it month to month. So that's the best deal you can get. And that's the way to go. So what I'm doing is I'm downgrading from my 10 terabytes, where I'm paying $60 down to $10 a month. And then I get all that. And then I can top off once a month and wow, save a whole bunch of money. So for the price of a pizza, I'm about to show you, I'm going to blow your socks off when it comes later, right? So you're ready for turkey dinner and sit down. You got your socks already off and your belt unbuckled and just sit back and just watch because it's crazy. I mean, we are past AGI, man. I swear to you. Now I'm a lifelong illustrator, photographer, image maker, storyteller, blah, 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 right? But, this thing. Anyway, so not to play that too much, let's go on and talk about Suno. So what's up with Suno these days?
Yeah, so Suno made a blog post that hit last week, and we just picked up on it yesterday, that they've announced a partnership with Warner Music Group. And
those are the people that was suing them, right?
yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. And
There
if you
you
can't
go, and own
sue
them.
them, settle them. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So they are the big thing, the big takeaway here is that they're going to start charging you to download your content to have
If
if
you're
you
on the
generate
free
songs.
plans. Yeah, let me,
Well, yeah,
because I am a super fan of Suno, and you know that all the music
me
I'm
too.
doing that I'm trying to get copyrighted, and it's really good. So I redid, in fact, tonight you're going to hear the Dangerous Man remake. This thing, in
Ooh.
fact, I've already got a friend of mine contacted me. He says we're going to get a session musician in there and we're going to record this song. I mean, it's really good. So I went from 4.1 to now 5. So Suno's really good. Okay, so the two things, let's break it down. So they were being sued, and Udio just went out of business pretty much. Yeah, they're dead in the water. So the
Yeah, well, they
consortium
were
of all the
done by Universal Music Group acquired them and basically sued them into shutting down. So they're still Udio is still around, but it's a shell of its former self. You can't access the music that you had on there,
and the
and
music
everyone is
wasn't as
losing their
good.
mind.
Yeah,
Right.
everybody's
Now,
losing their
Producer
mind because they
AI, which is used to be Refusion, is still kind of the last big model standing. And now, of course,
yeah,
11 Labs has music in it as well. So, and there's some open source models. So the
it's not as
music
good.
industry is never going to be able to beat this. But at least with
Yep.
Suno, they did it right. Like if you want to, you can generate and listen to the music for free. If you
Right.
want to download it and have commercial rights to it, you pay the $10 a month, and then you
Yep.
get and be able to download it.
Yeah,
And
so
these
they're
are
gonna
announced changes for 2026, by the way. So you've still got a little bit of time to go through and do that.
yeah, so I'm generating probably I've made 5,000 songs so far, I think, something like that. Only 100 of them I'm getting copyrighted right now, only because I feel like I put enough human capital investment. That's my kind of thing, right? And the two things about Suno that I really like, Will.i.am was one of the helpers to found it. And they have always had artists come on there and say, "Hey, remix my song." So even like 50 Cent, we
Yep.
talked about before, right? They're all buying into the idea that fandom means more money for them. This goes back to the story we talked about before, and I think let's put this all together. This whole thing is basically large corporations who own IP, and we'll talk about Disney in a minute, not yet. But before we get there, people like 50 Cent are saying, I'm flattered because my fans are talking about me. They're liking my music. And somebody went out, one of my fans, and remixed my song as a 1950s crooner. And I sound really good. So he says, I'm going to start doing it myself. And then he says, you fans want to remix my songs and let's see come up with, and then maybe you can actually get some money. I'll pay you to play with my music. Wow. So it's an interactive thing. And I think the thing that people want, that they were scared about with AI generated slop, is that they want a human experience. So if that means spending, like my niece did, $4,000 for her 4 friends to come down for a week long thing in Miami. So they spent all this money in Miami to go to the concert and they bought all this stuff. I mean, these kids probably spent, the 4 of them, $10,000 for this whole experience. And they were beside themselves. I mean, this was an experience, right? It's about as human as you
Mm-hmm.
can get. And they follow them every day, follow her every day. And she's just a beautiful person. She leaves a wake of $4 billion as she goes across the country. And then each city she goes to increases the revenue and the cost of housing, right? Which is not a good thing. But basically, you put yourself on the map by being associated with greatness. So you celebrate, right? So if AI is helping you celebrate and people loosen up their belt straps a little bit. So the original story was Minions came out, it was a complete flop. Nobody did it. All of a sudden, a couple of elementary school and kindergarten teachers started putting pictures of Minions up, and then people started putting on their cakes. And unlike Disney, nobody sued. In fact, they let it happen. And then every kid in America went to their parents and said, "Oh, the Minions 2 movie's coming out. Oh my God, I got to go see it." And then it's the mega hit that it is. So
Yep.
what we're seeing is that Even Sora was the same way. So Sam Altman even said, right, you're having fun with this. So a billion people start playing with this thing called Sora, and they're making, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was a movie a long time ago, and we forgot about it. I forgot that it was a great series, but I forgot about it until I saw it crop up in Sora. And then all of a sudden you got, and there's some places where it wasn't right. I don't think Martin Luther King, people were disrespectful, but it's like, the bottom line is, Sam Altman was willing to put his cameo, and we can't call it cameo anymore. I got that, but put his cameo out there. So I'm going to call it that anyway. Just like I'm going to call X Twitter, because it's Twitter, for God's sakes. I don't know how you can possibly do that. He should have figured out like Nana Banana. You go with what works, man. So go with the flow, buddy. And if people like you and love you, and they love you and remember you because you let them play with the idea of you. Fan art has been a thing forever, anyway, so I think the bottom line is
Disney has started to stick their toe into that, though. They've started to license their intellectual property out and let people create fan art.
Yeah, let's take a look at what that's all about. So this is crazy. So this is the change from an extractive economy, and to show you how bad Disney is. 40-year-old couple. This is back in the 90s, right? I worked for the Miami Herald, 1988, I guess it was. This couple had been sued by Disney. They almost lost their homes because they dressed up as Mickey and Minnie Mouse and went to kids' parties. They took their business away. They basically completely humiliated them. It made the front page of the Miami Herald. Everybody was outraged. But, if you look at Star Wars, same thing, right? That whole Lucasfilm thing was litigious as heck. So there's a lot of companies that were so litigious, and all of a sudden they see that it's making, them more popular. So here we go. The most litigious intellectual property owner in the planet. Even Steamboat Willie all of a sudden came into the public domain. People started, they didn't do anything with it. They didn't bring it back. But some people are actually playing with it now and doing some interesting things. And mostly making fun of Disney for being such a tight, company and being so greedy. So let's take a look at what Disney's doing that's different now.
Yeah, and so one thing that they're doing is they are ingesting AI into their tech stack. There's been some with Moana 2 live action. We've seen some what we suspect is fan created art. But what we're about to show you here is from Disney Imagineering, and this is going to be the next generation. They debuted this week at Disney Tokyo, and this is just pretty incredible. Check this out.
This is the best day of my life.
Really excited to introduce you all to someone we've been working with here at Imagineering R&D.
Hi, everyone. I'm Olaf.
Hey, Olaf, I think Rick and Ashley actually had something they wanted to show you.
Brilliant.
So we've been working with the latest in advanced robotics and reinforcement learning to really be able to bring our Disney characters to life at the scale and in the way that our guests know them from our films. We are really eager to introduce our guests to Olaf at Hong Kong Disneyland and Disneyland Paris very soon. We've actually been really lucky because we've been able to work directly with Walt Disney Animation Studios. In fact, some of the animators that helped bring Olaf to life on screen have made sure that the emotion and motion that you're seeing on our Olaf here is really true to character. Hey, Olaf. On y va?
Let's go bring back summer!
Oh my God. Look at the detail. Is there a small person inside of that? Oh my God, that's nuts.
No, it's all animatronics.
The animatronics of the president. Did you ever go to the president's hall and all that kind of stuff? And
yeah,
the bears. What was the other one they had?
The Country Bear Jamboree.
Yes. Is that still in existence?
It is.
It's a small world after all. Have you taken your kids there?
Yes, yeah, they have had the luxury of riding on. A funny side story when Naomi was little. She was terrified of the boat because it was her first big ride. It's a small world.
Yeah.
And by the time she got through it, the Disney magic had kicked in, and she was a more boat, more boat, more boat, and then everything else, no matter what we went on, it was a boat. Flying Dumbo, a boat. Everything became a boat. And so yeah, it was one of our
childhood. I
Disney
mean,
magic memories.
I'm sad. I think Mark Twain went. Huckleberry Finn, I think, went away. That's probably not there anymore.
Mm-mm.
And they have a whole new thing going on now too, right? Epic, I guess, is the new theme park there in Disney.
Yeah, that's over at Universal, but yeah.
Universal, right? Okay. So Disney's been kind of the thing that. So now they tried out a real life adaptation of Moana, and. Do you have the fan art there so we could even kind of see what that crazy thing looked like? Because it was kind of nuts.
I couldn't find a high res copy of it, so no.
Oh, okay.
But
you have like Moana, and you have I guess who was it that did the voice of was it The Rock?
The Rock, yeah.
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, so they tried to come out with a whole live action version of Moana, and then it flopped, and then they put AI in there to try to make it work, and then they got such a backlash. So I'm not sure how this is going to work. If you do look at ChatGPT, they made a deal with the New York Times. So basically, every intellectual property company, New York Times, everybody who has ever gotten together, like Warner Brothers, to sue AI companies, is now getting paid. So Perplexity did this too. They made a deal every time they search for something in New York Times. And here's my thought, and this is, I think, where it could really work out for everybody. So Perplexity, we know, has all like 7 different large language models you can ask about. And it's got a great way to citate everything. So it's an aggregator. So aggregators are like Crea for video and audio and stuff like that, and still pictures is an aggregator. So they're paying for the APIs so you can use all the models and compare them to each other. So that's the thing, right? But what's been added is, what if you went to Perplexity and you start searching for a story, but it happens to be in the New York Times domain? And it says, if you want access, you can subscribe for a penny, and then they pay that money right to New York Times. Or if you come with your subscription and you enter it, we open up the doors to all New York Times content because you're a subscriber. So they could be the front end for subscribing to a world of data. The same way you go to YouTube and you either pay by watching commercials or you pay by paying the fee. So that aggregated fee, I think, is the future of an AI model. And what's happening now is the biggest companies like Warner Brothers are buying or are partnering with. So they're joining the ranks of who was the enemy instead of suing them and, ending up with nothing. But they're suing them and embracing the idea that the public wants this. But they want it with a little bit of a caveat. I think that's kind of a beautiful middle ground. I don't want the New York Times, like the Miami Herald, to go pretty much out of business. I mean, I looked at the numbers of the Miami Herald. It was close to 1 million circulation, 17 editions per day when I worked there. It's 10% of that now. To get just a paper subscription is $1,700 because there's only like 1,000 human beings that get it delivered to their door. I mean, that's nuts. It's not worth printing anymore. And then there's 4 photographers where there were 64 when I was there. So I don't want to see that happen. You don't want to see the death of real truth, But we have to keep guard. And I think that's sort of the conversation I think is happening right now. I'm hopeful. I don't know. You feeling optimistic about this idea and conceptual way of thinking about things?
I am, because at the end of the day, when we look at the agriculture and the Industrial Revolution and how the combine put a bunch of farmers out of work, they didn't just sit and rest on their laurels. They moved to the cities and built the industrial complexes and office work, and now
until Detroit got to a size that it went overseas and they got cheaper, right? So you've had that sort of flux in. For every job that was lost, there were double the jobs that came into existence, right?
Yeah.
And so we sort of upscale and up-res our consciousness, if you want to think of it that way. But the Industrial Revolution is 150 years, just to give you a clue, right? And then from the industrial and agrarian before that, right? So you got industrial like crazy great. All the farmers lost their land because now it's corporations that do it, because you got to do it in scale and you got to feed 11 billion people on the planet, or 8.5, whatever it is now. I can't even remember what it is today. Wait till tomorrow. But we're not growing, actually. That's a weird thing. So that's the scary part. But anyway, now we're talking about the web 20 years. Now we're talking, what are we, 3 years, 3.25 years into AI, and already we're 10xing everything that happened before. So the speed at which we're knowledge gaining, consciousness raising, and having to deal with complex choices. I just did a presentation to the Adobe photographers. So it's all the people that work for Adobe that are in Lightroom team, Photoshop team, and everything else. And almost every one of them are professional photographers, including Santiago Leon, who's the head of the Content Authenticity Initiative, who was Associated Press head chief of photography and knew my ex-wife, and got to know him pretty well because I'm working with him to the Content Authenticity, which is to fingerprint your photographs. And they did that for the New York Times, including the words and the music and the video, so that you have an indelible watermark. And guess what else that I found out? Gemini has it too, already built in. Every generation you make from Nana Banana already has a synth ID. That's Google's version of watermarking. That's permanent and irrefutable. Now, here's what's cool. They joined forces with Content Authenticity. So now you have the CR icon that should appear whenever you've got a little Gemini icon on the bottom right, or Sora icon. All those icons are basically indicating this is AI. Here's our problem. Facebook has a get out of jail free card, has had it since 1988, when President Clinton at the time said, hey, this is going to be transformational to all society. Let's just give them a free pass in case somebody kills themselves or something stupid happens, like the character AI people. I mean, there's like one kid that wasn't stable that killed himself because he was in love with the AI. It's such an isolated thing. Do you want to
Well,
ruin
not
it
that,
for
but
the whole world?
they hang on, just for
There's a
clarity.
problem there. I'm not to
No,
diminish it
the
completely,
problem
but
is that the AI enabled and encouraged him to go through with it, and that's
there you
where
go.
they got themselves into trouble. Like AI
Well, and that's
relationships are, becoming
and
commonplace, but
yes, and thank you
they
for
still
mentioning
shouldn't
that.
encourage that.
Yes, absolutely. And what I would suggest, that's why we have safety belts in the United States. That's why we have the FAA for all flight.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy
And
bunch of rules.
not to side tangent, but it always tickles me when I look into history and get into a debate over like seatbelts and how hard the public pushed back on
Yeah,
the fact that this thing was going to save your life.
right. I mean, I remember every woman I dated, right? They would take it off because it would mess up their shirt, or and then my kids grew up and it was just such a
You,
default.
you know what else messes up your shirt? Going through the windshield at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because if you even think about it, so I haven't been in the Waymo yet. I just didn't make it when I was in LA,
They're
but they
coming to
have them in
Miami.
Miami. Yeah, they've got them in Miami. So I'm going to take one soon because I asked all my students, I asked 3 classes, I said, would you get in one and go? And they said no. And I said, if I told you that it's 75% safer than getting in a car with an Uber driver, and they said, well, okay, science. Okay, so there's proof it's safer. So literally it'd be 100,000 fewer deaths if everything was a self-driving car. Wow. Okay. So what do you hear about in the news? The one pedestrian jaywalking that got killed by a car. What did they do? They fixed it because in its learning model, it never thought that people would be so stupid to walk across the road when they're not allowed to.
Yep.
Go figure. So stupid human tricks. So we get back to that idea that don't blame the tool, blame the fool. So that's my favorite new saying, right? Don't blame the tool,
Nice.
blame the fool. And just like the camera, I'm not going to give the camera credit for my great photographs. That is my blood, sweat, and tears over 66 years of my life, and my life experience and my expertise at doing this for tens of thousands of hours. In fact, I'm guessing since I've been making images for at least 50 hours a week, I'm at 50,000 hours of
which is
image
much more than the 10,000 you need to become an expert.
There you go. So I'm a genius level, world-class photographer,
Yep.
image maker now, illustrator.
But
Yeah.
because you mentioned the 10,000 hours, I
Okay.
do have to share. I'm very excited. I got
You
my
got
advanced copy of
Yeah.
my 10,000 minute
There it
mindset book,
is.
and there's AI Brandon on the back.
Oh my God, that's beautiful, man.
This is going on sale Sunday
Oh,
on Amazon and Kindle. And so
just
you
in
could be one of
time
the
for
first
Christmas,
to
baby.
exactly. It's launching on November 30th, which incidentally is the 3-year anniversary of ChatGPT, and it's going to be on sale for $11.30.
Wow.
And this is talking about 10,000 minutes, which is equivalent to 1 week. It's like almost exactly to the minute 1 week. You spend 1 week with AI, and you can become functionally competent in something. And so I'm very excited about this. Is the only copy in the world right now until Sunday, and then we'll order.
Oh, that's so fun. And it looks good, man. Hey,
Thank
I
you.
tell you what, can I help you with version 2? Because I want to illustrate the heck out of that puppy. I think it'd be fun.
Yep, that was it on the show we were talking that like, hey, where are the illustrations, or what did you use to illustrate? I said nothing because there are no illustrations.
Well, it's just
But
good thinking,
absolutely.
you know. So, two things I want to say. I'm a huge fan of Malcolm Gladwell. I do believe in that 10,000 hours. That's I tell my students every day. You're born to do something. So figure out what you're born to do. That's your ikigai, your my why for reason for being, and then align yourself with some problem that exists in the world, and then go solve it, and be a better version of yourself every day. And then work for 10,000 hours, and you master whatever skill sets that you're good at. So if you want to be an illustrator, a web developer, a social media marketing manager, yeah, that's it. That's all I do at work, right? And so I've simplified my life into that, inspiring them to understand here is the path. There it is. Put obstacles in their way on purpose, because when you trip off on your way to Mount Doom and a spider comes along, that's what builds the character and makes you better friends with Samwise Gamgee. And then you go do your thing, right? So it's a North Star travel. That's my whole educational philosophy, period. And it applies for no matter what discipline you're doing. And AI is that assistance, that boost of your humanity that helps you get there. So it makes it a little bit
And
easier
if
to
you
not have to
are,
blow the.
I was to say, if you are a student, there's never been a better time to be a learner of things, because the information is not only ubiquitous, but it's now accessible in new ways. And Rick, I'm sure you're going to talk about later with NotebookLM all of the different ways that you can use it to study. But beyond that, Gemini Pro is free for a year for students. Claude, I believe, and is free for a year for students, or Perplexity, one of those two. All these large language models are trying to be in the student's back pocket.
And I'll give you a really fun clue. Go to your local community college, sign up for a couple of classes, and you get an EDU at the end of it. That's all you need to get that free thing. So if you're a 60-year-old man, just go down and take an AI class, right? Come on down and see me. I'll do an AI class with you, right?
And something, Rick, that I just this is so late breaking. I haven't even had to tell you about it. We've discovered. I haven't even had time to vet them, so I'm almost afraid to say what it is. We can edit out later if we find out that it's fraudulent. But Maestro .org is purporting to be the first online accredited AI university, where they've got accredited classes that you can take for $0 tuition, fully offset by scholarships, and you can get accredited knowledge trained and taught to you by AI.
Okay. Well, I happen to be speaking to Campus AI. So Campus, let's see what it's called here. I think it's this. Campus.edu. Which is owned by, guess who? Mr. One of the investors is the CEO of ChatGPT. Anyway, so I'm speaking.
ChatGPT has a lot of investors. So.
The CEO is one of the founders of campus.edu. So I'm
Hmm.
going to be teaching there a business class next week, and I'll show you what I'm teaching there today that I've done completely the entire course outline. It's a business strategy from birthing a product all the way through to social media marketing. And I put together everything in just a week. That's insane. I mean, it's kind of cool. Anyway, so I wanted to go back before I forget, though. I do want to go back and talk about your 10,000 minutes idea. So Malcolm
Hmm.
Gladwell said 10,000 hours to get there. You're saying a week of concentrated. So what is your elevator pitch for your book? What are the people reading it going to get out of it?
Yeah. So essentially, we have all of the tools. We have all these tools that can act as an accelerator. But most people to this point, they think using AI is as simple as going to ChatGPT, asking it a question, and treating it like Google. And so, what this talks about is a framework of not only how to use AI to act as an accelerant on one specific idea, so you can become functionally competent and go all the way down the rabbit hole. But more importantly, how do you even pick that topic? How do you move past paralysis by analysis? And I discuss
Yes.
a 3P framework. Or are you passionate about it? Is it profitable? Is it something? And can you prototype it? So
this is Ikigai, right? This is figuring out what's your my why and what. Yeah, it's Ikigai, man. You can use that word. It's not trademarked.
Yes. Yeah. And so the idea is once you get past, I'm going to use AI to help me, and it's not cheating, it's an unlock.
Right.
Then you pick your topic, and then, okay, then now what do you do? What's the framework? Do you want to become a musician? Do you want to become a writer? Do you want to become an illustrator? And what does that look like for you? And again, we're never saying 10,000 minutes is going to be enough to go and launch your career, but it's a step. No. It's a step in the right direction. And if you can dedicate a week to it, you can decide whether it's something that's worth 10,000 hours of your life.
And if you want to go a little bit shorter of 10,000 hours, you can watch any of our tool times, which will at least give you enough knowledge about NotebookLM and the other ones. In fact, we're doing another tool time tonight on part 2 of NotebookLM because of the new features. We'll be updating each one of these. We did Lovable, Brandon did that one. We did ChatGPT, etc. Because I think the paralysis is finding the signal in all the noise. I mean, we're sitting here talking every night for this is what our 14th episode, right? About this stuff. And we are not even scratching 1/10 of what you and I have been filtering through to come up with something valuable. So here's a couple of valuable steps that I'll pin on top of your book to add value to what you're saying out there. You're saying, find the signal for you. What's your ikigai? What's your thing you're trying to solve? So I have health problems. So I'm trying to solve that for myself. So I've actually made a device and I'm ready to take it to market, even if I can get somebody to invest in it, right? And I've written a song, a play, a musical, and I've written 7 books already. And, the trick is landing the plane for me because I got big, giant ideas and just, it takes a world to do some of them. But then other ones, and our good friend, Dr. Claire, suggested to me, in fact, she wrote me a song called Land the Plane. And it was really quite beautiful. Nice. It was that in your search for all the stars, sometimes you just have to land 1 or 2 planes and sit with yourself and enjoy the stars.
And you also wrote the first song about my new book that we debuted in AI Life Hacks in the AI Salon. But and I think to that point, to land the plane, all of this massive transformation has been brought by Google. And Google was the OG. It was their paper, their transformation paperwork, and Attention Is All You Need, their transformer logic that built the AI industry. So it should be no surprise that 3 years later, we're sitting here saying Google is at the top of the heap. Because they built the heap that
they did.
And they built the foundation on which the heap was built. And so, Rick, I know you have some deep dive stuff that you want to talk into here about Gemini, and then we're going to jump into tool time. So I'll be around in the wings. I'm going to go get ready for to launch AI Learning Lab off the in my other tab, but I'll stick around because I really want to hear what you have to say on NotebookLM and
it's real
Gemini.
exciting. Yeah, I'm gonna start. Here's my new thing I did. I did this yesterday. I just took all the ideas and took AITV. I just gave it our regular opening screen that you've seen before, with the QR code that it kind of messed up a little bit, but it's all right. But Google has won the war. I do believe Grok is a wild card on the side. But here's my thesis. So I wrote an entire thesis. It's about 37 pages long. And then I fed it into it. The basic idea is Google has YouTube. Okay, so you got all the training for audio and visual. It's got search knowledge. That's everything. That means that if you're going to assemble a large language model, what do you need? Content, filtered, organized, structured. You got to know where the dead bodies are buried. You got to know where the brilliant minds are hidden. So search is a vector of all knowledge ever created on the internet. That's where large language models get built. So if you take the knowledge, which is next word prediction, you add on audio, video, emotional, text, voice capabilities, you get multimodal, so it can speak, it can see. And we had that Sora moment, right? Sora basically let us know that it has been watching videos long enough to let you know what refraction of light is, what gravity looks like when Stephen Hawking rolls off a skateboard ramp and goes into the water. You see the glistening of the water. It's no longer has a difficulty in keeping consistent characters. You can see myself and Brandon here on screen. And then it has TPUs. So what's interesting is everybody is using Jensen Huang's, right? And NVIDIA. Yeah, NVIDIA's chips. Now it is the most valuable company in all human history. What is it, $4 trillion? Holy crap, man. So, and it keeps going up. And everybody's bullish because everybody needs it. It's intelligence is the economy. And then they did DeepMind, which we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go on forward and I'm going to suggest that Grok has something unique. And that's why I have it in the wildcard niche. I mean, look at just this graphic right here. This is insane. This is what Nana Banana Pro does, that everything is spelled right. Are you seeing anything wrong? And I just fed it a bunch of stuff. And this is what it came up with. In 1,000 years, I couldn't even make this image, no matter what I did. So Grok has what? It's trained on social media. All of the messages you said on X. Is Google trained on that? Yeah, it's got Reddit, it's got all the other stuff. So it's been searching, so it's got it cataloged, right? So that's why the dominant force in all future history will be Google. So then I said, well, who's in competition and how are they? So take a look at this. On the left, I said, what are all the Chinese giants? So you've got Baidu, Ernie the bot, ecosystem dominance, search, sovereign hardware, right? Quen from Alibaba. They have all the money. Tencent. Oh my God. So you've got video capabilities. You've got ByteDance. They're doing something that is so incredible. They're coming up with their own chips now. So the United States started to keep the chips away. And of course, they got them anyway, because they're really good at sourcing stuff and building their own. They can knock off other chips really quickly. A really scary story just came out that we bought a bunch of computer back-end hardware for our military service and our intelligence agencies that supposedly the chips were built partially by China and they have a back door. So we've been leaking all the stuff from our military and our politicians, as stupid as they are, tried to get stuff cheap. And so they put a back door to the Chinese. So no wonder they're siphoning off and cloning what we're doing. Okay. Then you got Microsoft in the top left-hand corner. It's got strong brand. It's also partnered with Claude now. So that's kind of interesting. It has its Sora centers, so that's kind of a cool thing. Meta is doing the llama and the open source thing, the world building kind of idea, and they have their MTIA chips, which is kind of cool. Then you got Apple, which guess what? It has to use Google to do its search, always has. Now it's going to use it to replace Siri because Siri's broke. She just had a quick funeral, and they've moved on and already signed the deal and inked it with Google to provide all their AI services on device so that you have really safe AI. Then you've got in the bottom middle, I think this is really important. Claude has been the ethical, a safety focused potential acquisition, maybe by Google. In fact, the folks that created Dario Amodei is really good friends with DeepMind's Dennis Hassabis. And so there's definitely going to be an ink deal pretty quickly. And the fact that they are the head of all code, in fact, 200,000 people were laid off that were coders just last month. Think about that. It's going a lot faster than we thought it would be. XAI, they're, Elon's just pouring in there. So you got the Tesla physical embodiment, you've got robots, you've got Starlink. We'll talk about and show you some of that kind of stuff. And then you got this little thing called Perplexity over to the side, which brought up search powered by multiple bots. So it's using an aggregator thing. It's plugging into the cloud, and it's a knowledge champion that basically curates knowledge. And then you've got all these new things from Hyundai and other people that are going into the robotics field, and that's another whole thing. So what's DeepMind? If you haven't watched it, you must. If you want to know stuff about AI, you must watch AlphaGo. It's for free. AlphaGo is about beating the best chess champion. A Go champion in the world, Lee Sedol, in 4-1 defeat. Thought was impossible. Move number 37. Look that up when you get there. AlphaFold, he won a Nobel Prize for AlphaFold in chemistry, oddly enough, because he was able to figure out it was a 50-year problem. It would have taken 1 billion years if human beings had tried to unfold these proteins by themselves. What does that lead to? So he started off his life, and you can see that this is basically, I loaded up a couple of YouTube videos about him in Google NotebookLM. This is what it gave me as the infographic. Holy crap. A childhood prodigy. He was one of the best in the world at age 13. Then he takes a job at Bullfrog. I don't even know that company, but I watched there's two or three different videos that are worth watching about him. And then at DeepMind, they're doing the Manhattan Project. So they're funded to basically cure all diseases. End story. They are gifting to humanity the entire AlphaFold thing. What does that mean? Every drug that can basically, the reason why the pandemic ended when it did after 6 months, AlphaFold figured out how the virus worked and then had an immunity within 6 weeks. It took 6 months because we had to test it on humans. So he learned from games how to work things and how to set AI loose so it could solve all games, and then it could solve all AlphaFold. And then there's 6 different there's alpha, beta, there's 3 different alphas that have gone through. And that's just from this one thing. Then just to tear apart how this great leap happened, how does learning how to play games and going against humans? So move number 37 was an unusual move that if you're trained by humans, you would never, ever make the move. It was so unusual. It had 1 out of 10,000 chance of winning, but it beat him. And then in game 4, Lee Sedol came up with a brilliant edge. He'd never been challenged before like he had. So he lost 4 games, and then he won one with move number 78, the God play. So he figured out, and this is my life philosophy, and it was based upon this movie. I remember my first class at University of Florida was, never play against the opponent across the net. Always play against your best self you've ever been. And all of a sudden, Lee Sedol, the most brilliant South Korean, and there were 10 million people that watched the show. And then there's been billions since, right? Even Gary Kasparov says a good human plus a machine is the best combination. And he was able to take this idea, can I beat a human at any craft? And now it is aced every single category. Google has gotten the mathematics gold Olympic awards. And every test that you do, it's maxed out on every discipline, physics, everything, right? And it's about to come up with maybe a black box problem or the orthogonal thesis, or maybe he can just show humans something we've never discovered before. So this is all from a graphic from me just loading up some YouTube videos. So here is the AI future as told by Dennis Hassabis, Machine of Love and Grace. And then you've got Elon Musk, Alex Karp, Mark Zuckerberg, Sam Altman, who are going fast and breaking stuff, potentially creating a horrible thing. So Claude's Dario Amodei, I would suggest, should be on the left here. Somehow it didn't make it into this graphic because I didn't load it up with a bunch of stuff. Training chatbots and central conversations. No, disbanded the team. So Dario Amodei left ChatGPT because it wasn't being ethical, and he formed Claude, Anthropic. They're the only ones that are doing serious, deep research. And if you haven't read Machines of Love and Grace, this is a masterclass in the future utopian vision for what humans can do and be amplified. Okay, so ideas are viruses. So I did this Richard Dawkins deep mind thing and figure out how we tell with language, how we condense trillions of tokens of information into our brains by telling stories. So if I said Frodo to you, or I said 9/11 to you, there's a trillion tokens of data off of that because we have a shared collective consciousness, a biological meme compression algorithm of storytelling. Let me say that one more time. A viral meme-based large language model of telling stories that are formed from our biological collective consciousness. That's how we think. That's what they're trying to teach AI to do also. I don't know if we want it to be totally there because the embodied experience, the emotional, serotonin, dopamine, and all of those things that affect us biological critters that don't yet affect the AI may be our genius. We have the power to defy the selfish genes of our birth, and if necessary, the selfish means of our indoctrination. So memes can be used to indoctrinate you, as the church has done throughout the centuries, as your leaders and current president of the United States does. It tries to meme its way into your psyche and poison your brain, if you want to think about it. Or you can pull upon the beautiful language of all of our arts and sciences and go make a better world for us. That's where this is going. So, to tell you, I am so dramatically changed by the experience. And I'm going to show you right after this what this looks like and how I made all these spectacular images right in Google Notebook LM with two new tools. One's called Infographic, and the other is called Slide Deck. So, you've heard about, and let me just go over. So, here is I ask it to compare Salvador Dali's surrealist movement. AI's is but a mirror to our own creativity, a digital canvas for our wildest ideas. Wow. So that's how an artist looks at it. The paranomic critical method, a technique involving paranoid state to perceive irrational links between unrelated objects. That's my Think Different campaign. The synesthesia of thinking is to be able to bend your and warp your brain to go into a dream state and imagine things that you didn't, to make connections like a scientist did between first principles thinking. So this is super deep. So if you're a prompt engineer, and let me go to the 10,000 minutes idea, the number one thing you need to know is you want to know, what do you want to know? And then ask for it. All I did was I wanted to know how Salvador Dali might take a look at AI artists and how and what they think he would do. I loaded up everything I could find on Salvador Dali, his theology, his theories, etc., and then I had it create this. So dreamlike AI imagery like Dali or Nana Banana, right? Modern AI generates on the level of imagery challenges our understanding of perception and reality. So if it actually is able to bend your mind, you could be Salvador Dali. Holy crap. Okay, and I'm going to get into this. I'll do this one real quick because this is really cool. So I've been trying to figure out how do I explain to you how this has happened. So this is the whole shebang. This is one prompt, folks. Now I fed it. I've been working on this project. It was a book idea. I wanted to be able to explain to people what is a large language model and how is it like things from science fiction. So that was my question. So what you want to do if you want to do the Brandon idea of 10,000 minutes, here's how you do that. And Brandon, if you're still there, I'd love it if you wanted to chime in on this idea. But the idea that he has in his books is figure out what you want to know. And my suggestion to add to that, which I'm sure is in his book, is come up with a thesis idea. What would Salvador Dali think about AI? Or ask here, can you explain to me the different levels from the original ChatGPT onto today as to where we are in approaching the scientific world of the future? All right. So it says, so the first metaphor is loyal tool R2D2. So it embodies narrow AI. It's a genius at specific task, Starship repair, navigation, hacking, and data storage. So here we go. So this communicates as a metaphor. So my most important thing to say to you, Aristotle knew this. If you can make a metaphor for an idea, it is a pathway to cognition, understanding, and the birthplace of true knowledge. Because you're comparing and using some other thing that you know very well to understand something you don't. And the first question you can ask that ChatGPT would be great is, tell me what I didn't know is my favorite ender, but my favorite first one is, explain it to me like I'm a 10-year-old. I'm still having trouble with understanding, some theories of mind, especially I can't think of it right now, but the physics idea of E equals MC squared, and
The theory of relativity.
no, what's the one that quarks are in different places at the same time and simultaneously? String theory, and then the next
string
one
theory and quantum leaps.
Quantum mechanics. Still trying to understand quantum and how that works and how quantum computers work and why we're having difficulty with it. But I did say, ask, as a 10-year-old, explain it to me like that. So there's your metaphor. And then level two.
And you're talking about the 10,000 minute mindset. To borrow from the an excerpt from the book, if you can learn anything, start with something that moves you forward, something that matters to you. The goal of the 10,000 minute mindset is not to pick the perfect skill. It is to rediscover the joy of learning in motion. The first skill you choose is just the first domino. Once you see how fast you can grow, you'll never look at time the same way again.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Say that one more time, because I love that.
The whole thing, or just the last part.
Basically, the domino theory is that find something you care about. That's my thesis idea, my why, my ikigai, right? In my word language, right? And then come up with curiosity is what leads you to a world of new knowledge. So if
what I said was it is to rediscover the joy of learning in motion. And the first skill is just the first domino. Once you see how fast you can grow, you'll never look at time the same way again.
Okay, I want you to create a slide with those words on it. Yeah, that's it. Start the journey, right? It's 10,000 minute journey, and it starts with you saying, what do I want to amplify about myself? So if you like making music, go to Suno. If you like making images like I do, definitely Nana Banana. You just need to master that thing. So it's pick your instrument, right? So I talked about this before. I picked a trumpet. I first picked a drum. My parents said, heck no, man, I'm not going to have a house full of drum noises. And then the band director said, oh no, that's you practice on a rubber mallet. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then I picked up a trumpet and played it for 8 years and became first trumpet in a world class band, a jazz band, symphonic bands. I played it all. And then went on to become a musician and sang in front of a band and stuff like that. The metaphor number 2 is C3PO. So it goes a little bit further. So it can translate all languages. It can speak in all kinds of dialects. It knows what social emotional protocols are. So that's our nowadays 11 Labs capability, right? And our translation to every language on the planet. And it's our ChatGPT conversations that you're having it with real people. And then it's going to be in the future one even more, right? So it's your how do you do things? What's the correct way to address someone from another planet that looks like a giant bug on the right without getting eaten by it, you know? So metaphor number 3 is Samantha from the movie Her. And that's a companion that's going across a crucial threshold into the mindset of loneliness, of a world full of social media isolated people that are anonymous. Imagine having a beautiful emotional experience with something. So I've rewritten my Siri, I Can't Be in Love with You song. The idea that Siri gives me everything I want. And if you really want to get fully what you want in his emotional experience, go talk to the women on Grok. They'll do whatever you want. You know, I mean, they're nasty and they're funny and they're emotional. And you could say, you know, act like you're a whatever, and it will just do it. But at the end of the movie, it's really sort of sad because what he realizes he was missing the messiness of being a human. And the more I talk to AI, the more I miss the women in my life who meant so much to me. The people, 2 women that I married and had children with, and I miss those moments. And that's haunts me to a point that I make beautiful music from it. To me, a search for meaning in the world is what it is to be human. And that companion, while not necessarily safe for people who aren't emotionally in touch, for someone deeply emotionally very firm and solid, I would call myself a very healed man after a lifetime of not being. Um, I have times where it satisfies just a little bit of what I need to not feel like I'm alone in the world, or at least someone I can talk to find out something new. So there's that moment that we're in right now because it can be that. And then the future, not too far away, because Olaf, can you imagine? I mean, you could go to Disney and then have a conversation with Commander Data. How cool would that be? Is that a Disney property? Who owns Star Trek?
Not Star. They own Star Wars, not Star Trek.
Star Wars. Okay. Well, you could go talk
So
to.
if you're talking to Data
Chewbacca.
at Disney, you should call security because you're not talking to a licensed character.
Well,
Should we jump
Chewbacca,
into Notebook LM?
Yeah. So I'm going to go. So the next one's logic. So that's both human and logical. That's interesting. And then you metaphor of Hal. Okay, the god-like critter. We don't know what's going on behind the black box. That's scary. And then you've got your dangerous rogue. Look at the quality. This is a slide deck. I'm going to show you how I created it in just a minute. And then my favorite one is Roy Batty at the end of Blade Runner. And he says, so he is the Blade Runner, he had to chase down. Harrison Ford plays the lead role. It's the most existentially beautiful movie of all time. It's my favorite of all time. At the end, he chases down these robots because they become so emotionally in touch with everything that after 4 years, they become human and they are put to death because they cannot get to that point. So they go and do and live these incredible worlds. And he has this incredible speech at the end, which, by the way, he wrote as he was saying it. And if you watch this and you don't cry, like tears in the rain, all the memories he talks about, and then his last lines, they'll vanish like tears in the rain as he has to be turned off. So anyway, let me scoot on over and show you how this happens in Google Notebook LM. So I'm going to go over here. Let me go to this one, right? Yeah, let me do this one here without summer.
30 minutes to master, tools to explore, let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCarley, where your digital dreams come true.
Ignition.
All right, so here we are. So this is Google Notebook LM, and if you didn't see the previous video, you basically add your sources here. So this is my play. This is my Year Without Summer about Frankenstein and Dracula. Talked about it before. You can come in here and add sources. So you can upload any of these file formats. You can go right to your Google Drive and pull stuff right off of that. And if you're paying that $10 a month or $20 a month, you can get 300 sources. You can also take a YouTube video and it transcribes the entire YouTube video and pops it right in there, every single word. Then websites, Google Drive, copy text. Holy cow. Then, if you're doing something really deep, you come over here and you say, search for deep research. So if you were to try to study about, tell me all about the all large language models, you can just come in here, put a prompt in there, and it will literally find you 50 at a time. Or if you do a regular search, it'll search the web or it'll search from your Google Drive or whatever. It'll research everything that you've ever put together. And then here in the middle, you've got your chat. This is Google Gemini, right? And you've got a citation of where it came from. So here is the overall interpretation Year Without Summer, musical, existential, Hamilton-esque work intended to challenge modern society by showing the monsters born from a climate catastrophe 2 centuries ago are now metaphors for self-created crisis of our present. And there's the line that comes from the paper that I wrote. This is my 99 summer catalog PDF talking about it. Ask any questions you want. It'll offer some questions down here. How did climate change impact this horror movie? It starts to answer that. Okay. Then you've got your audio overviews. I hope you're familiar with that. Video overviews. You've got your mind maps, which looks like this. And there's where you can go in, click on this. So there's the place, the challenge, the circle of people. So here's Percy Shelley, Mary Shelley, then Godwin, Lord Byron, who was the leader of this entire thing. There's John Pomodori. And if I go right here, it'll enter into the way that it starts to ask questions about that information. Boom. Now it's scanning that through all my sources, my grounded truth. That's crazy, right? And there's 54 sources. So now it's answering that. So let me go back. So the studio is audio overviews, video overviews, mind maps, reports, flashcards, quizzes. The reports also give you the ability to pick if you want to do a blog post, a study guide, a briefing document. And then it shows up suggestions it has. You can literally click on any of these, a thematic report, comparative analysis, character profile. Ooh, I want to do that. And then it's going to go make that for you right here. All right. The 2 new things, this one, infographic. I click on that. And right now you can get a very detailed infographic. You tell it what style and what you want to know. That's how I created all the stuff you just saw a minute ago. Holy cow. I'm out of credits or else I'd do it right now. Second thing, a slide deck. I'm going to show you what these are. So you basically print a detailed slide deck or clean visual slides with key talking points while you speak. That's presenter. Of course, I want the detailed because then you come down here and say, I want to use Nana Banana. I want to have it be comprehensive illustrations, infographic illustrations of the concepts, key concepts, and ideas across the 20 pages. All right, so that's kind of cool. So what's also cool about it, let's say that you used a prompt to get you a really good audio overview. So here's what I use. This should be a pitch deck for Lin-Miranda talking about the next Hamilton, Hamilton being the birthplace of our country, the Year Without Summer beginning the next play, blah, blah, blah. So here's what I actually copied and pasted in there. I just said what I wanted to know. When I did that, it created this audio video overview using Nana Banana. I'm going to show you in a second. But what I could also do is come up here and say, I could take that information. So I could view that custom prompt, copy, close it, come up here. Let me see if I have anything I can put in here and paste. Wow. Do I have credits? Ooh, got my credits back. Okay. But I'm going to show you what it did. So first of all, it did the audio overview. Okay. What's cool about this? Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? And it makes the whole audio overview. They're typically about 7 minutes in length, and it talks about all the details of the play, and it comes up with you can pick your style. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let me go back and then take a look at this. This is my 4-act play. I said, give me an infographic about the 4 acts in my play. First, the event in Geneva where Lord Byron said to them, let's make scary monsters. So they dueled together. That would be the creation of Frankenstein and Dracula. At the time, it was called Vampire. Bram Stoker turned it into Dracula. That's our birthplace of Frankenstein's monster. And then in after they make these archetypes, those 2 archetypes go out throughout their lives, and here they go. So Frank becomes a weapon. So every generation, he's made a super soldier, and he's sacrificed, and he's built from all the dead body parts of sacrificed soldiers. Mothers who gave up for the greater good. Jack takes power and goes with it. And then you've got Act 3. So all of a sudden, Jack is the president of the United States after running for election. Frank is relieved of his duty because he's been cloned. All super soldiers are now AI robots and drones, etc. And so he's born and he's able to have a child with Melody. His child's name is Phoenix. And then we go to the final act. Do you want to choose between one or the other? Okay, so that's it. That's my musical in a nut graph. But what's extraordinary, and you will not believe this, I swear to you, you won't. This is just from the same prompt. So this is the idea. The war that has always been, the archetype of Jack and Frank, is the battle between CEOs, kings, and dictators and tech gods who wore different masks but drank from the same chalice, power without love. This is not just a story, it's a reckoning, a gospel of the future. So, where did this take place? In 1815. Take a look at everything is spelled perfectly. This is freaking Nana Banana. The Mount Tambora erupted, put the entire planet Earth for a year into no sun. So the year without sun is the year without summer is this. So it was cold it was snowing all over the world in the summertime. And then the people are dying. 100,000 people died. If you know about the world starved, so if you know about the potato famine, that's what happened. And then they're writing a ghost story. For God's sakes, what's going on? So the song is called "Who Will Call Our Names." It's about the people that died, while these rich people are deciding what the fate of the world's going to be and what we should fear. So here's the idea. So this is beautiful. So when I present this, if I get a chance to, anybody know Lin Miranda, just tell him I got to play for him. That's the next Hamilton, but better. And it's going to be put in the spheres around the world. So she had 4 miscarriages. And she was she was young. So this portrait makes her look like she's really old, might be a little bit older. I dreamed that my little baby came to life again. They had only been cold and that we rubbed it with the fire and it lived, awake and finding no baby. She lost her mother in childbirth, right? So this is this grief-stricken woman who writes about what she knew. And then Lord Byron's physician, John Pomodori, models his creature after the aristocratic predator that he served for, Lord Byron. So it was actually about him. It was not a polite thing. And originally he was quite ugly. And then, of course, Lord Byron was, the toast of the town. So that's kind of weird. So what's Frankenstein? He's the giver, born of the corpses of fallen soldiers and the grief of a mother. He represents the sacred feminine principle, empathy, nurturing, remembrance. He is the repository of every sacrifice ever made. I give more than I take. This is a word from the song. I build, I dream. For 7 generations, I plant the seed. That's my first character. Who's my second character? You guessed it, Jack, the immortal aristocrat of hunger. He's the taker, an eternal predator born of privilege and conquest. He represents the alpha male destruction paradigm, consumption, exploitation, and the belief that only the strong deserve to survive. From consuming blood to devouring data, his hunger is eternal. And then you get to see second act. This is them throughout history. So Frank has to die over and over again and be rebuilt by scientists to become a super soldier in every generation. And then what does Jack do? He becomes a slave owner in America. He becomes an industrialist in the robber baron era. He becomes an underground Nazi, becomes president. And then we get to decide what we do with this. And so, what is the science behind Frank's change over time? The technology of the day. Galvanism was the Mr. Galvin would show in the 1800s, he would put electrical current to a severed arm and the fingers would move. So they also learned how to do blood transfusions in 1818. So this is my research that I did, and I never really put everything together until I saw this graphic, and I'm like, holy cow, this is crazy. So in 1996, the mammalian cloning basically allowed him to get his wife when he died. His heart remembered Melanie. She was then sped up in time to be his wife, and they had a child. So they re-engineered all of his body parts. And then he gets a neural implant in 2025. Elon Musk, thank you very much for doing that. That's for real. And now he's going to become the machine of loving grace. Or you can pick the other one. So his whole idea, science perfected his body, a fight to reclaim his soul. He's a super soldier. And then there's Jack Masters of every form, makes the stock market. And then there's a glimmer of paradise. And then the song, Good Night, My Phoenix, is sung. And then the battle is announced. And then what you have to do is think about, we're no longer discussing fiction. We're assembling a complex intelligence from desperate parts. The question is not if it will awaken, but what it will be. The emotional intelligence, the reality check, the machine of loving grace. Don't you want that? That takes care of you? He says goodnight to Phoenix because he has to go off and serve humanity. Or do you want Jack, a tech mogul and presidential candidate, offers the other choice? You ask for me. People want a king. Kiss the ring. I am what you asked for. He brings dominance, efficiency, order, and a promise of safety and security in exchange for submission. And so that's the questions we have. And these are quotes from the plays, songs. And the story ends, the choice begins. One monster offers a future built on sacrifice and grace. The other offers the king we have always known. You have seen the choice presented on the stage. Now help us put it on the world's stage. And so this is actually from my plea, an existential Hamilton for the AI age. The Year Without Summer blends historical roots with an urgent contemporary threat. Like Hamilton, it reuses a revolutionary musical language to re-examine our origins and confront our future. It addresses the most pressing question of our time. As artificial intelligence outpaces us, who will we choose as our God? An overlord or an ally? The Year Without Summer. That's the final question. So here's the story. These are the songs. Who will call my name? Mary Shelley's Lament, The Blood of the Overlords, The Grace in the Machine, Phoenix Bedtime Stories, The Battle of Dominion or Grace, Kiss the Ring, Frankenstein's Promise, and The Observer's Questions. And the invitation is, this is your invitation. This is from me. I am the author. I wrote this from my bedroom using AI, observing Mary and Pomodori's original intent to grapple with the scientific and moral questions of our age. Now we must do the same for ours. Lin-Miranda, Hamilton changed how we see our past. This is a chance to change how we see our future, to reduce it, refine it, and change the world again. To our future partners, join us, crowdfund this thing, produce it. Let's make this choice resonate globally. The seventh generation will sing of what you became. Whew. Okay. That's me. That's me. And that's significantly 10,000 hours of thinking and writing and going over. You could just see this is just some of the documents that, and some of the historical references that I did by searching for those references. So it's me searching for this. And then it's just an elegant way that it put these ideas. So I redid it. And so take a look. It just made this version of it. And this is the same story, but with a completely different look and feel. So I directed the last one to be a Gothic style illustration. And there you go. That's Elon Musk on the right, by the way, if you didn't notice it, because it's aware of everything. Gemini 3.0 and Google Nano Banana inside of NotebookLM took all knowledge of everything about this idea and put it together in this eloquent, beautiful way to express these ideas. Born of catastrophe, disease, and despair, the global impact. And then here they are, and there's the characters. Differently written because I prompted it differently. And then here's the parts. And then I could put this together because this is a PDF. The only thing I would love is to have it editable. So what I did is I exported the PDF. The words are all spelled right, so it's all there. And I can just keep iterating till I get it. Then I exported them all, and I'll show you the PowerPoint presentation I did. So I'm going to go a little bit long tonight. And Brandon, happy Thanksgiving to you, buddy. And I'm glad for you every single day. Meeting certain people in your life, you know, that this is, it got my phone number wrong at the bottom. But like, what a difference this is rather than the other one. And I could sit there and do the same thing. So the cool thing that you should do if you want to do this is look at the custom prompt. Take a look at what you did, and you can copy that. So if you like the consistency of the art style that you got, look up what art styles you want. I wanted a Gothic look and feel because it's 1800s, right? And I wanted to have that vintage look of paper, etc. So this time I did it differently. So this describes the pitch deck for Lin Miranda, and it's based upon this information. So I've done the outline and the stories and all that kind of stuff. And then now it can reevaluate that. Let me go take a look at some other ones. Here is Google Notebook. Here's just some of the topics I've been working on. And then let's take a look at, here's my really cool, this is Gemini. So today I ran out of credits, so I decided to do my life product. So I've got that going on here too. And I also have in ChatGPT, let's see if I can then go back out, take a look at what projects I'm working on. So I think I have Plato's Complete Works, Internet's Information War. So what do we know about that? So there's the information graphic about reclaiming truth, the trust in the Republican Party, and trust in the news. So here's ways to get back that code of conduct that was put in place. So in the 1994, it used to be that every news organization had to prove why they deserved a license from the FTC. That got rid of. They got rid of it. Anyway, so that's the graphic that comes from that bunch of knowledge you see over here on the left. And then here's the questions. And then you have also here, there is the conversation, a war in reality. And this is just a beautiful 20-point slideshow about fake news and the loss of confidence in our institutions. And who has the confidence? This is data. This is the real thing. This is a thesis level production and art speak. Look at the beautiful illustrations. Information overload is causing a fragmentation of the self. The relentless flood of conflicting, decontextualized information is not just a societal problem, it's a profound psychological effect. The phenomenon is being described as the narrative fragmentation disorder, NFD. This is a college course right here that's been researched, verified with citations. Of course, you have to clean the data on the way in, which I did. So I only brought in data I knew was correct from reliable sources. I didn't bring in junk. I usually start with a thesis about some important paper that's just been released by Claude's Anthropic, let's say. And they tried to test out what are the problem areas And I have a political science degree from the University of Florida. I've got an MA in photography, so I've done stuff on that. And I'm a lifelong learner. And I've never learned as much as I have by just using this tool and seeing what it comes up with. And what a beautiful thing that is, right? So all knowledge, you can then go in there and then you can create these searches for the deep dive in that. And I'm going to go over John Berger and Susan Sontag. I want to go into that more. Adobe's copyright. Oh, check this one out. This one's insane. So ownership of generational wealth. This is the one I've been talking about for a long time. How do we monetize it? What is it? Creators? How I made that. I own that. How do I get paid? Guess what? Adobe has C2PA blockchain. So there's the nutrition label, Content Authenticity Initiative by Adobe. And then I'm suggesting, what if you got automated micropayments? You had a bank that you had. And then what if that economic future is you can prove its human authorship and origins of value, and then take the music and the film, tag it, use blockchain to put it into the bank. So the Copyright Office is generational wealth. Your music, like Taylor Swift's music, is generationally funding 7 years after her death. Her artwork will be given to her grandchildren if she has them, and great-grandchildren. 70 years after her death, they will enjoy the economic windfall of her intellectual property. That's not true of everybody else, but it can be today. Direct-to-market distribution, even for the cheap spell. So everything can be fingerprinted using this original blockchain idea, and then let's make that our economy. So that's just the start thing. Then I went over here, and this is what it created. Holy cow. From corporate slavery to creative sovereignty. There is Prince with the word slave, which he actually did. Can't believe it actually made a picture of. I forever on Nana Banana, the first version, tried to get it to do a good, reasonable rendition of Prince with the word slave on it. I just put my content in. It didn't even ask a question. It just did it. And there's Napster moment where all of the friction of getting music to the public disappeared overnight. And what did the artists from music do about it? So this is, as a visual learner, the richest way you could possibly tackle extraordinary ideas. I've done 150 of these deep dives already. And I'm going to, every day for the rest of my life, just keep making more. And if you want these, I'm going to put them on a website and allow you, as a professor about any subject, to take this along with outlines, tests, grades, and then go up there and just get knowledge your own that I've designed for you. I'm creating a library like Alexandra could only dream of true, certified. And I'll ask every educator to use AI in this way to get knowledge in the hands of visual learners, audio learners, and people that need to be helped in understanding through metaphor, through Socratic methods of debate. Let's
Hey, Rick.
change how we educate the future.
Hey,
Are you
Rick.
getting going? Yeah.
I'm loving this. This is great. But I think those dinosaurs have a better chance of surviving this tool time than your voice. So it might be time to land that plane and
Okay.
hydrate, my friend.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna say goodnight to you all. And but like this is what I'm gonna present to Adobe. This is literally everything that I'm suggesting, everything that I put into my ideas, the monetization steps, the way to use this. Look at this beautiful illustration. I mean, this is just like she becomes the champion. And there's Billie Eilish. The greatest gift Adobe can give to humanity is ownership. And they've already done it. And just help them get the rest of the way. So that's what a spectacular tool this is. This is knowledge. This is your access to all knowledge from all humanity. And I thank you for your time. And happy Thanksgiving to you all and to the world. I love you all. Thanks, Brandon, so much for your friendship, your kindness, and your being just a human. That reminds me, one of the most profound things you can do is have a family and to create children who grow up in a beautiful world. And I hope that you feel like I do. If we all work together and we become a better version of ourselves, and we spend just a week worth of 10,000 minutes to maybe deep dive in making us better versions of ourselves and seeing how we might use AI to amplify who we are as human beings, we will be the greatest Thanksgiving gift to all humanity. Namaste, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving.
To you too, sir. Take care.
Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out.